So Paul O'Sullivan came back to Parliament. It was drama all the way through, and the end was a dramatic walkout. In this video, I'm going to show you what's been going on. And if you stay with me all the way till my biblical reaction, I'll also get to show you what we are doing together, because South Africa will prosper. You ready to see what's going on? Okay. Press like, let's go. Let's start with the 19th of November 2025 when Cedric Nkabinde, Chief of Staff of Police Minister Senzo Mchunu, appeared before the Ad Hoc Committee.
I think it's important that I put this message, which I received now, into the record.
Yeah.
I received this message from Paul O'Sullivan.
Yeah.
Get ready, you lying crook. I am going to make sure you spend some years in prison. You were bribed by Mkhwanazi and Mabula. Now you will pay for your crimes, guaranteed.
Just tell me below, do you think it was written in capital letters?
We just want to put it to the committee that the sooner we call Paul O'Sullivan to come to the committee, the better. We've heard enough about this man intimidating people, running the show alone, putting his hands where he doesn't qualify to put hands. He must come here as a matter of agents. Before we close, he must come before this committee.
We'd already made a request for Mr. Paul to come before this committee. But I think, Chair, it is important to put it out there that we bear responsibility to protect the witnesses that are assisting the work of this Ad Hoc Committee, and won't tolerate or stomach any form of intimidation if it comes out of a testimony that has been given before this Ad Hoc. We agree with you, Chair, that we're going to await the Legal Services Department to give us available options to attend to the matter decisively, and if needs be, attend it aggressively.
This is not the first time that Paul O'Sullivan has sent such messages. The police committee sat, I think it was in 2018, and he sent a similar message to all the MPs. So it's not just about the witness that is here today, but it's also about us as members of Parliament and as members of this Ad Hoc Committee. So a very strong message must be sent out to it, and I think we should also explore our legal obligations and options on what we can do about him outside of him just coming to appear here. We can't be threatened in front of the whole nation, actually internationally, by this Paul O'Sullivan. It can't happen.
What will we as Parliament do if there was ever a time to show the power vested in us to save this country and put South Africans first? It's now. We can't allow that.
Because we can't have a thug intimidating parliamentarians and witnesses here. We cannot allow that, Chair. Hence, I said earlier, we should not be a banana republic or a mafia state. And I hope the police are watching this. And unfortunately, this human rights issue sometimes take time for a person to be arrested. But if I was in charge of the police, or if we're in America, you will be arrested tonight.
When we are screenshotting, just don't only screenshot where there's a name. Kindly screenshot where there is numbers as well, where we can see it's his numbers. You are our guest, Ila. So for this Paul O'Sullivan to understand what South Africans are no longer playing, can he report to any police station tomorrow? Because personally, I am going to open that case. This is our house and you are my guest. We will deal with this person. If his attitude thinks he can run South Africa like he did, we will deal with him. So please, Chair, as soon as next week when we're going to seek at Matlala, can we meet Paul O'Sullivan in that jail so that we can deal with him in that jail and leave him there?
So by the time he appeared in Parliament 2 weeks ago, they were ready for him. In fact, the ANC and MK representatives were already on an interview the day before he appeared, starting the rumor that he is a spy. So his appearance was heated, but he was not taking it lying down.
I want to conclude that you have repeatedly stated that you did not receive any money, Mr. Paul O'Sullivan. And today I have brought receipts to prove to you that you have lied to this House under oath And because you have lied to this House under oath, and we do have the evidence, as Action SA, after this meeting, we will be opening up and laying criminal charges against you. I leave it at that. Thank you, Chair.
Sorry, Chair, am I allowed to respond, or am I just going to sit here and listen to the lies being peddled by the honourable member?
Listen to me. She has raised matters with you. Now it's your time to speak to the document.
Thank you, Chairman. This payment of 100,000 rand did not come from the Crime Intelligence Slush Fund. It came from the DSO's C Fund. It was in 2006, and it was a refund for monies that I spent. Sorry, Chairman, if I have to sit here and have somebody making body language faces at me while I'm giving an explanation, I will then have to turn and look at you and not the honourable member.
You only spent 22,500. It's on the application form.
Chairman,
You said you did not receive any funds ever.
Honorable James, may we please allow the witness, give him chance to respond to your questions.
thank you, Chairman. It's a refund of expenses I've incurred at the request of the DSO, which was then called the Scorpions, and they agreed to refund me the monies I spent, which also included the use of my aircraft, and they, not me, they chose to refund it in this format. And in fact, the amount of money I spent was in excess of R500,000, of which they contributed 100,000 rand. And it wasn't paid from the Crime Intelligence Slush Fund. It was paid from the NPA account. So the honourable member is wrong when she says that I lied when I denied receiving monies from the slush fund.
Yeah.
Morning, Mr. Paul O'Sullivan.
She's sitting here.
I'm greeting you.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, I was trying to
Honourable.
Johnny.
I'm greeting you, sir. I'm looking at your statement. You are accusing General Khumalo. Can you provide evidence that sources of information under Khumalo that have dried up, that you're referring to? Can you be quick, because 15 minutes of my time will go.
If you look at...
My time is going, sir.
You asked, Madam, if I could supply with evidence. So I want to refer to page 792. And he reached out to me.
Is this informant from Mpumalanga?
That's what it says.
The one that you are talking about in 803, in Annexure K 791. Is it the one?
That's correct. Pages 792, 793 is all the transcript of the discussion I had with him. And that documentation starts at page 8.
No, it's fine.
In Crime Intelligence.
Okay.
And then there's an application for... Sorry, Chairman, I have a big problem here. I'm asked an open question, and I'm trying to get...
No, I'm saying that, can you stop it there? So that I ask another question.
Chairman, I think what we need here is some guidance. I'm asked the question, and I'm being stopped before I've completed answering my question.
My time will go. I want another question.
Chairman, I've been asked the question, and I'm being stopped before I've answered the question. And I believe the reason I'm being stopped is because the honourable member doesn't want to hear my answer. So I'm being told, here's your question. No, stop. I don't want to hear it.
I'll give you another, because there is a follow-up question to what you're going to say.
Chairman.
Because on what is written on your telephonical conversation with the informant, you are saying that the informants must go to General Smear. You don't want him talking to General Mkwanazi, General Masemula, General Khumalo, because after appearance of General Masemula, they are all going to jail, the three. You are planning about that. he must give you that information so that after Masemulo on that day, coming out of the Madlanga Commission, you are taking them all to jail. He must talk to Spear. Why do you have an informant to talk to someone else, not to talk to the people at the helm of SAPS? Why do you refer your informant to General Spear?
Chairman,
Yeah, you can respond to the questions that have been
I
posed.
haven't finished responding to the first question, Chairman.
Yeah.
And the reality of the situation is,
Combine all of them.
yeah, I'll combine all of them. Thank you.
Quick,
I think what you
summarized form.
Is asking why I didn't instruct him to go and complain to General Khumalo.
To Spear.
Pardon?
You are saying that he must go to General Spear. Why?
Should I have told him to go and speak to General Khumalo, he would have probably been suspended by now because he was complaining about General Khumalo.
Just leave it. Let's leave that because you are saying that the General
Sorry, Chair.
Masemola, the
Chairman.
National Commissioner, General Khumalo,
I have a problem. I'm
General
not finished
Palas,
answering and I'm being
all of them, they're going to jail.
General.
No, leave it out because you have made it clear that the person
Chairman.
in SAPS whom you regarded as the person who must be at the helm is General Spear. It's clear. From what you've written, it's written down. You're telling the informant. It's you yourself. Mr. Paul O'Sullivan, can you tell me why did you decide to disinvest from property in 2025? Why?
Chairman, I haven't finished answering the other question. And what I'm not prepared to do, Chairman, is to sit here, start answering a question, and then be stopped and told, I don't want to hear your answer. I want to ask you another question. And if we're not...
Can I say that to
Sorry,
you?
Chairman, I'm talking and I keep being interrupted.
Can we do this? Are you able to respond to that question?
Absolutely, and I'm trying to explain it, Chairman. And while I'm trying to explain it, the honourable member starts interrupting me. Now, what I'm saying is...
Look, listen here. You and the honorable member must have a cordial conversation.
Chairman, how can we have a cordial conversation?
Yeah.
If I'm trying to answer the question...
Let's not do that. May you please respond to the question. That's what she wants to hear.
And I was trying to explain that, Chairman.
Let's go ahead and explain.
So can I explain without being interrupted?
Yes, I give you the time to explain.
Thank you. They chose to bypass Khumalo. He chose to bypass Khumalo and go and speak to General Sabia. It wasn't me that told him. I didn't even know he'd been to speak to General Sabia. And if you read the transcript, it makes it clear that he's telling me he decided to bypass General Khumalo. So we're having a complete misunderstanding of what's being said in the transcript.
No, it's okay.
And then, sorry, Chairman, I'm being interrupted again.
I got your answer.
No, I haven't finished my answer, Chairman. I haven't finished, Chairman.
Because you're saying Spear can be trusted.
Why are you shouting?
It's you who's saying that.
Why are you
not
shouting?
The informant.
No.
Please stop it. I've got the answer now. I got your answer. Please. I got your answer. Then I'm going now.
I don't think I can work like this, Chairman.
Yeah.
If I'm going to have to work like this, I'm going to have to say, I'm sorry. This is...
You'll have to go. Why?
No. Honorable Sokanyile.
I can't go.
Wait. Let me tell you something. I'm going to ask the witness. We must not create an excuse to pull out of the conversation by not answering questions. Honorable Sokanyile.
Thank you, Chairperson. Because I want
you ask your question, allow him to respond.
I'll also read what I'm saying. Akandifuni lo
I
baba.
haven't finished answering the question.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
I will start where I've ended.
No, Honorable Sokanyil. Let him respond to that question.
Thank you, Chairman.
And how many minutes?
Chairman, my submission to Parliament, and you can deduct this from the honourable member's time if it's necessary, includes over 1,000 pages of evidence. And it's necessary, if I'm going to be asked questions about the evidence, that I have an opportunity to look at the relevant pages of that 1,000 pages so that I can answer the question properly. Because otherwise I'm going to be put in a position where I'll have to say, I'm sorry, I don't have time to answer that question. So either I must be able to give a proper answer, which means consulting my documents, or I must be allowed to say, I'm sorry, I don't have time to answer that question. Or we can agree that we're not going to get anywhere with this process. And as chairman, I respectfully request you to ensure that when a question is asked, I will undertake to provide the answer as quickly as possible, but not in a way where I'm asking or answering the question and I'm told, no, I've heard enough. I don't want to hear any more. And that's really the reality.
Explaining the process.
So, Chairman, the allegation is I'm asked to explain why I told him to enter the Sabia. In fact, if you look at page 799, because I already knew, this is now the informant telling me, not me saying it, because I knew already Kamala was corrupt. So I didn't want to go via him, but I went to the forensic department and I said, And then when we're back, I did all the applications I was supposed to put in and I sent them there. And the applications went to, who's this guy now? This guy, this Sabir. Is it Sabir? That one is in charge of forensic and stuff. And I said, Sabir is the, what do you call it? DivCom detectives. Yeah, the one that is fighting with Kamalo and Masamula. And then he says, who is Mkhonazi fighting with a lot? He's saying it, not me. Is it Sabir? I said, yeah. Sabir, Mkhonazi, and Kamalo and Masamula, they're all fighting with Sabir. Then he says, yes, Sabir. Now, someone told me that Sabir and Kamalo, they are fighting. So then he says, so I went to the forensic department because Sabir is in charge of the forensic department. So it's not me telling him, don't go to Kamalo, go to Sabir. He took the decision to go to Sabir.
Yeah, thank you.
And if I can be allowed to answer in this way, we're going to move along much quicker.
Yeah, you have the answer is provided now. Let's allow the member. The two of you must look at each other in the eyes and have the conversation.
No, I'm looking at him. You know, I'm just asking a question because it's written. You are reading other lines, leaving out a line that you are saying Smear can be trusted because he is against Masam. I'm not there. I got your answer and I got your attitude that you don't want General Masemula, General Kumalo, and General Mukhonazi. You are saying Sibia can be trusted. You are saying that to the informant.
Where am I?
Also, no. I'm going to another question now. My 15 minutes are going. I'll give you all those lines that are, it's from your mouth. Let me go to another question. Why did you suddenly disinvest in property development here in South Africa, especially in 2025?
Actually, it was in 2020.
Just in a summarized form.
Actually, it was in 2024 I started the process. And the reason, Chairman, was because of two factors. The first factor is the July riots that took place and the damage to the economy of 100 billion rand. And the second factor is the inability of Eskom, due to corruption, to constantly supply electricity. And those two factors caused a marked decrease in the value of property in South Africa. So in 2025, I sold assets and I moved the money offshore for the simple reason that keeping the money onshore was costing more in the long run. And on the properties that I disposed of, I probably lost somewhere in the region of about 10 million rand.
But Honorable Ngola has not forgotten about that message to Nkabinde.
Let's go straight to the message. You are reading the message. Read the message.
Get ready, you lying crook. I'm going to make sure you spend some years in prison. You were bribed by Mkonazi and Mabula. Now you will pay for your crimes, guaranteed.
And you consider that not a threat?
It's a statement of fact.
No, it's a threat.
You might consider it a threat.
No, Mr. O'Sullivan, that is a threat. Mr. Nkabinde is within his testimony in Parliament. You send him an SMS whilst he's still giving testimony in Parliament. And you say he must get ready, you what? Lying crook. That's not a statement of fact. That's a threat. And that's a deliberate undermining of the work of Parliament. What do you think?
I then go on to say lying under oath to Parliament is a very serious offence. Newton's third law, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Chairman, if certain members determine it to be a threat, that may be their opinion.
No, Mr. O'Sullivan, please.
It was
What time was the second message sent?
The first message was 1843. The second message was 2015.
That's exactly when we would have finished the business of the day.
Right.
So would I be correct when I say you saw that you messed up and you were trying to clean your mess?
No, Chairman, somebody sent me a screenshot of what Cedric and Kabindi were saying at Parliament. And that prompted me to send that message.
You said, get ready, you lying crook.
Correct.
You are going to jail, it's your time to pay for your crimes. Isn't that a threat to a witness of Parliament?
I don't believe it.
It is a threat. And it is undermining the people's Parliament.
I don't believe it.
And it should not be done.
Before we get to the accusation that kept coming back about O'Sullivan, well, Ashley Sauls gave him props.
And when I look at the submissions that you put before us, no matter how I feel about your posture and your demeanor, I cannot ignore, when I read your submissions, your heroism. I cannot ignore your sacrifice and your immense contribution in your fight for justice in our country. And so if I strictly just look at that and look away from how I was introduced to you, I want to say to you, based on what I read here, thank you very much for your sacrifice. You're a hero. But like I told Mr. McBride, even heroes have holes. Our shared Christian faith teaches us about Jesus, who's more than the hero, is an actual savior. Yet even Jesus had holes in his body. But the difference with Jesus was when Thomas doubted him, he was willing to let Thomas feel the holes and test it for authenticity. And he still ascended into heaven with holes. Now this committee process, I feel, is here to test those holes and also to affirm the truth and test what you've put to us, whether it's the truth.
But then here's the big allegation.
Is it correct that the British military intelligence works closely with the MI5 for domestic operation and with MI6 for foreign operations?
Now I think they do.
Okay.
But 40 years ago, I don't think they did.
So you are not aware that at the time you were there, the MI5 and MI6 was working with the British military intelligence?
40 years ago, they weren't.
Okay. You are a property developer in UK in 1985. You suddenly become a tourist in South Africa and the Africa at large. You identify an interest of property development. As a former military agent, you enter the public service through being a reservist. When you have actually acquired citizenship within a very short space of time. In 1995, you were given a citizenship. In 1997, you were training people as a reservist. You entered through some unexplained properly ways of being at the airport and stuff. You get into the country. You open a forensic investigation company. You also open an NGO, Justice which is one of the features actually foreign intelligence infiltrates foreign countries. So with this explanation of your history and your trajectory in South Africa, would you blame anyone who accuses you of being a foreign spy?
That is the narrative of the corrupt.
But do you blame them given these facts I'm putting before you?
Yes, I do. That's the narrative of the corrupt generals in crime intelligence and the police service. And it's not a new narrative. It was first started by the late Jackie Celebi. It was peddled again by General Pashlani, and it's been peddled recently again by General Pashlani and by his comrade Cedric Nkabindi, and it was peddled again in this house by General Mkhwanazi. So there's this strategy to discredit the good work I've done in this country over the last 36 years.
Did you work anywhere else except when you left the military intelligence?
Did I work anywhere? What?
Did you work anywhere after you left military intelligence?
Yes, I did.
Where?
I'm not telling you.
Why?
Because it's none of your business.
It's none of my business.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, that's fine. You don't have an answer. And I know you don't have an answer because the question after that was going to be, where did you get the money to invest in the property investment? Because you were just from school, went to military intelligence, and then the next thing you come to South Africa for tourism, you love the place, then come back to South Africa to invest in property development, and not only in South Africa, but in different kind of countries. Where do you get that money from?
The first development I did, I borrowed the money from the bank and I made it a profit. And I reinvested that profit in another property. And I made a profit there. And I reinvested that in another property. And I made a profit there. So that's how property development works.
No, I don't buy that story, Mr. Paul O'Sullivan. Property investment is a very expensive investment. My suspicion is that you were given money out of the military intelligence to go and be an investor in different countries to continue saving them, in spying those countries on their behalf. But you must look like you are an investor.
With respect, Chairman, I think the honourable member has been watching too much TV.
Why?
Because you're speculating.
You have never worked to get money to qualify to engage in property investment.
How do you know that?
That's what you told me, at least. You went to work at military in intelligence, and then from there you worked in a firm. You can't tell me, because if you tell me that firm, I will be able to evaluate, to check, and make 1 + 1 to see if we can make such money to invest in property investment.
With all due respect, my property investment activities took place probably when you were still a baby.
Yeah.
But the reality of the situation is, if a person is an entrepreneur and he makes money, how can you then jump into the conclusion that that person is being paid from a government fund or something of that nature? That's pure speculation, and you don't have a shred of evidence. So what you're actually doing is you are making these speculations. It's your idea, and it's wrong.
No,
and I'm just pointing out that you are wrong.
No, my idea is that because I was a baby, and it's not my problem that I was a baby. It is my mother's problem. She gave birth to me at that time. I've got nothing to do with what I was at that time. So because you were an old man, you have to teach me how you came about to become a property investor. You can say I'm formulating it because we've put you there and we want you to educate us as to how did you become this big property investor from just military intelligence?
I won't say I was a big property developer. I was a property developer. And when you bring money into South Africa, you convert it from pounds to rand, you get quite a significant amount more rand. And if you look at the property prices overseas and you look at the property prices here, you can buy more property here for the same amount of money you will buy much less overseas. And I decided to get involved in property development. And if you find that suspicious, it's a problem. And I believe the reason you're finding it suspicious is because you and certain other members of this committee are looking for ways of covering up the criminal conduct of crime intelligence officials and the abuse of the slush fund. And that's why we have people like Pashlani, who's on trial at the moment, getting away with the crimes that they're committing because Parliament, or certain parts of Parliament, are not exercising their duty of care and their duty to look after the interests of the country.
Mr. Paul O'Sullivan, if you know me, I'm not part of the nonsense you're talking about. Not me. I'm not part of any nonsense you're talking about. I'm not part of any slush fund or anything. I question people the same way I'm questioning you, all of them, including Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi. I questioned him because I'm about the truth and nothing else but the truth. And I'm not going to be patronized or be intimidated by anyone. Not me. They can try with other people, not me. Okay. So you must never, ever group me with people who are involved with some people who are doing wrongdoings in the crime intelligence. If you have been following the proceedings here, you will see that I've taken the same posture with everyone. You are talking about former General Pashlani. He's still coming to us. We are not done with him. When his turn comes, we'll attend to it.
In your knowledge, are spies permitted to disclose their identity? Having done the work that we've done over decades, does a person who is a spy permitted to disclose that I am a spy?
I think that would defeat the object. So a person, if he's employed as a spy, it would be very silly to come around and say, by the way, I'm a spy. So what would be the purpose of disclosing his career as a spy?
Okay. So in which case, that answer is also saying to us, even if you were a spy infiltrated into South Africa, you are not going to tell us that.
If what you're saying is true, then you would be right. But I can't imagine for the life of me that a person could be a spy for 36 years and get involved in the charitable activity that I've been involved in and all the other things that I've been involved in. For the record, this is exactly what the late Jackie Celebi said, is that I was a spy. Now, if I was a spy, let's just take a hypothetical position. If I was a spy, after Jackie Celebi had exposed me for being a spy, wouldn't I then have been recalled and said, oh, it's been exposed, let's get him out of there? They call it an extraction. And then, unfortunately, it wasn't just Jackie Celebi either. General Pashlani came along and said exactly the same thing. And that was 10 years ago. And now we have General Mkhwanazi alleging exactly the same thing. So it seems to me that it's like every 10 years, there's an allegation that I'm a spy. It's clear that if I am a spy, I'm a very bad one, because I've allowed everybody to tell every 10 years, there's a whole big lot of media attention on the fact that I'm a spy. So I can categorically state that I am definitely not a spy. I never have been.
Everyone who has asked O'Sullivan if he's a spy or not has been running this country for over 30 years. How can someone who's been running the SSA, our intelligence agency, that gets given billions of rands all the time to deal with intelligence, how come the people who have been in charge of the party that runs state intelligence for 30 years make us sit and listen about whether he's a spy or not? Why don't you just know? If O'Sullivan is a spy, I don't know if he is or not. I'm not qualified for that. But if he's a spy, why don't you just send one text to the intelligence agency that's given billions of rands to protect this country, and they are supposed to know everything about everyone that puts this country in danger? If Paul O'Sullivan is a spy, why don't you know? Why haven't you caught him? What the heck have you been doing? Oh, I remember. In 2018, Sydney Mufamadi released a high panel report about our intelligence in this country, that it had been used to play ANC games, and this one was using it against this one, and there was no intelligence in the country because comrades have been using intelligence for power instead of for protection of our people. You should be bringing out reports, links, bank accounts, but ANC has run the government into the ground and we have no intelligence. Reverend Kenneth Mishwe spoke about it like this.
A country without a good intelligence department is at the mercy of its enemies, whether internal or external. The ACDP agrees that this nation desperately needs a professional intelligence capability that will respect and uphold the Constitution and the relevant legislative prescripts, especially in the light of the findings of the high-level review panel report on the State Security Agency and the allegations revealed at the Judicial Commission of Inquiry into allegations of state capture. I believe one of the reasons crime is so high in our country is because we have an intelligence that has neglected its mandate and has focused on the ANC internal factional battles to promote one faction against the other. In the process, the country remains vulnerable as citizens are terrorized by criminals. If our country had a very good intelligence that was focused on its core mandate, then the country would not be losing billions of rands to corrupt individuals and companies, would not be hearing about billions of rands that are leaving the country illegally. Our crime levels would be much lower than they are, as criminals would be intercepted before crimes are committed. The ANC seem to have learned from the previous National Party government how to abuse state resources, particularly resources allocated to the use of intelligence operatives for the benefit of the country. Chairperson, the State Security Agency has allegedly been running a campaign to influence the media. It was called Project Wave and aimed to recruit journalists and media houses to work with them. African News Agency, as an example, was paid 20 million rands in 2017 to train SSA analysts and interns and to broadcast positive stories about the current government. What is most concerning, sir, however, is that state security officials accused of stealing 17 million rands from an SSA safe still are in their jobs. In conclusion, the SSA serves no useful purpose and will simply poison the rest of government if it's kept intact. Like a rotten appendix, the SSA must disband. Let us rather strengthen the Financial Intelligence Center, the intelligence powers of the South African Revenue Service, and the SAP's crime intelligence arm that also still needs to be beefed up and cleaned up.
But then Sullivan came back and he dealt with parliamentarians like this.
Some of us, Mr. O'Sullivan, we don't have dual citizenship. We are South Africans. Our DNA, which runs in our blood and vein, we are not Europeans. We are not settlers in this country. And it's unacceptable for you to lecture us about how things should be run in this country. You've been doing this for many years, unabated, unprovoked. And I'm not even sure whether because your journalists, which you say there's good journalists, they give you news. I guess we are talking about your Marian Tam, Karen Morgan, Passon, the Stratcom journalists who are misleading you. But let's start here, Mr. O'Sullivan. Are you the same Paul O'Sullivan who was born on February 17, 1953, or you were born in August 1955?
Chairman, I was born on the 26th of August 1955.
Thank you. Now,
sorry, let me finish.
No, I'm fine. Remember, we are responding on me.
What I cannot accept is a 30-second question or 10-second question preceded by a 5-minute lecture where you defame me. I have never, ever lectured. I was asked a question and I answered the question. That's not a lecture.
No, you were lecturing us.
We really need to keep our decorum here, because if you're going to sit there and defame me and lecture me, I will respond accordingly.
No, I will as well. I mean, you made an interview on NCA. You said that we must lick our asses. You said that on NCA, you using your language.
Sorry, I said what?
We must lick our asses.
I must eat your what?
You must hear again. I think those hearing devices are not doing justice to you. You said on NCA that we must lick our asses.
Eat your asses?
Lick our asses.
Who said that?
You.
Rubbish.
Yeah, let me tell you, for maybe you've forgotten. We are going to play that video here.
Okay.
Yes. I think we'll play it at the end. I can tell you now, you are going even not to disclose. You said as well, when you wrote, to say that you don't want to be interviewed by MK Party, EFF, and Action SA. Am I right?
Chairman, those were, shall we call it, interactions that took place before I decided to come and testify. And those interactions were supposed to point out that, by the way, I'm not happy to be interrogated by people who belong to a party formed from what I consider to be a criminal syndicate.
Yeah, now, hence I'm saying that your attitude, the way you behave like, you are talking to your, I'm not sure, I don't even say to your workers. We are members of Parliament here. Every 400 member in this house is a member of Parliament. You can't dictate who you want to speak to.
So 2 days ago, this is how it ended.
Specifically, these international crime syndicates?
Well, of course, and I have to leave now when I've answered this question. An international crime syndicate has many, many aspects, not just the availability of multiple passports. In South Africa today, you probably have at least 1 million people who have multiple passports. That doesn't make them all members of a crime syndicate. If General Khumalo wants to tailor evidence to point in that direction, let him also tailor the evidence showing what crimes it is I'm alleged to have committed. Because absolutely I have not been involved in any crime syndicates of any nature whatsoever. And that, unfortunately, is that, yeah, I have reached a point now, Chairman, where I have to go.
No, Chair, he's not going to leave. He's not going to leave. She's going to ask her questions. He's not going to leave. If he leaves here, he's walking out. He's not going to leave until you release him. He's walking out of Parliament.
Yes. Chair, he cannot be allowed. He's doing the same thing with Patoi. You can't leave here. Yes. We are appearing before us.
Unfortunately, I made it clear.
We don't care about your flight.
Thank you.
You're not being released here. You must be arrested. We'll open a case now.
Pardon?
We'll open a case now. This man must not be allowed to go out of this country.
I did not come here on a summons.
We'll open a case.
I came here of my own free will, and I'm leaving of my own free will.
I think he can go.
Mr.
The
O'Sullivan.
question that I have for him is,
Mr. O'Sullivan.
he wanted, no, Chair, it's
Mr.
fine.
Mr. O'Sullivan.
I told him. It's fine. Chair, it's fine. Chair, I think we've dealt with the question.
He can't leave. Righteousness. Yes.
I was about to say he can
We are dealing with criminals. But all he did say is abroad now.
Honorable Nompan.
No, Chair, I'm saying heroes don't walk alone. Honorable Souls forgot to escort his hero. You must escort him to the airport.
Have that microphone switched off.
You see, when people disregard scripture, I will not do the same. When we look at the evidence, that is done and the sacrifice is made was heroic, and it's my opinion. I will maintain. But he has holes. He's not perfect, just like all of us here are not. So I maintain, and I will not retract. Thank you.
Honorable souls, a person can be a hero and just do the smallest thing that undermines everything else he has done, despite many advices that he has been trying to give to him. You can't insist, but it's a discussion we can take up with him outside this. You cannot say repeatedly, this can undermine the work you are doing. A person still doesn't listen to you, what you are saying. You keep on saying it's a hero. A person cannot be a hero for walking out of this type of proceedings without duly being authorized by the chairperson of the proceedings. Such a person is not a hero. He also undermines honorable souls. He must accept, honorable souls, that he undermines him. He undermines all of us collectively. And we take the input that there will be an advice, and out of that advice, we can have a proper discussions. But this guy has violated the rules of Parliament, and the rules are very clear with this kind of conduct, especially in this precinct.
Well, the next day, the EFF went and laid charges against Paul O'Sullivan. We are the only ones who are allowed to walk out of Parliament midway. There we go.
As the whole country, and in fact the entire world, saw yesterday, Paul O'Sullivan appeared before the Ad Hoc Committee for proceedings, and he walked out before the committee was concluded. So according to the Powers and Privileges Act, Section 17, he is in contempt of Parliament, and it does carry a criminal offence which is equivalent to a fine or imprisonment or both. So the Speaker did not act as she should have. I don't know if she was eating scones also while this whole thing was going on. We allowed her up until 11:30 when proceedings ended, to act on this, and she wrote back to our Chief Whip last night saying that she's waiting for a legal opinion, and she will act if, what did she say, National Chair? If any. So we knew that she's not going to act, and this is what brings us here this morning. And it's not the first time, because if you go and ask her why she hasn't acted on that same man who threatened a witness during proceedings, the committee has written a report, a legal opinion has been given to her, and she didn't act on. She didn't act on summoning Paul O'Sullivan, and she only acted after we had to put her on blast in the media and during social media, and then next minute O'Sullivan showed up here. So we are dealing with what looks like a captured parliament that has no interest of the people. Instead, they are protecting someone who even we don't know how he got his citizenship. And if you go through those documents we received from Home Affairs that none of you have asked for, you will see that this man is a fraudster.
And this is how Kuselo Sangoni felt about the walkout of Paul O'Sullivan. I understand what she means by disrespect, disdain, all of that. If she had said arrogance, I would have got it. But it's because of white supremacy. He feels he must not account to anybody. When Jacob Zuma walked out of the Madlanga Commission, was that black supremacy? When the EFF jumped on the stage, was that black supremacy? I think it's about time that we just talk about what people did and not jump to their skin color. How about we all deal with all green passport citizens in the country and just describe what they did and not jump to their race? But no, then that would not be the ANC. They would lose power. But here's something interesting that becomes hard to miss after a while. How come it is that all the people who talk like this all seem to have one thing in common? Let me remind you, when people in South Africa were dying in their numbers due to COVID, guess who was in the middle of cashing out?
The meeting will be held today, and the trio are expected to explain the tender that was awarded to Royal Baka, owned by Diko's husband. It's alleged that a multi-million rand tender for the provision of PPE to Gauteng Health Department was awarded to the company. The party is also expected to launch an investigation between the facts so that it can swiftly act if there has been any wrongdoing. Party officials may also call an urgent provincial executive committee to determine the fate of all three leaders.
Now you might think I'm just saying this to be defensive because she said something I don't like. Not quite. Actually, in my book, The Soft Life, which you can go right up here right now and download it, you can read it for free. I talk about this dynamic, and I'm just going to read you one quick paragraph. To everything there's a season, a time for every purpose under heaven. After 1994, Marxism became the steak knife our government refused to put down. They kept using it long after the job had changed. So the same song continued. We are fighting inequality. We are fighting exclusion. We are fighting white supremacy. We are fighting colonialism. But the more they sang, the worse these problems became. And something else kept rising. Betrayal, corruption. Because when people hold on to Marx's way of seeing the world, after real oppression is gone, something predictable happens. The same thing happens over and over. The loudest fighters for the poor, or for the black people in South Africa, end up betraying the very people they claim to defend. This isn't about bad people. It's about what this language does when it runs the whole show. Then Mary took very costly oil and anointed Jesus' feet, but Judas Iscariot, who would betray him, said, "Why wasn't this perfume sold and the money given to the poor?" He said this not because he cared for the poor, but because he was a thief. He used to help himself to the money box. By the way, this is my biblical reaction today. The poor talk. Judas sounded like a champion of the poor or of black people. He used the right language, the equality language, but his motives were hidden. A perfect picture of what happens when a person uses oppression talk without actual oppression. His betrayal was predictable because when the formula is in place, the outcome seems guaranteed. And this is exactly what we saw in South Africa after apartheid ended. The way of thinking designed for a liberation struggle was kept alive even when the struggle was over. And just like Judas, the betrayal came from inside, not from the oppressor, but from those who claimed to be fighting for the people. Since 1994, the ruling party, the ANC, to 2024, has spoken the loudest about inequality and caring for the people. But according to the formula, that should make us watchful. Not because the people in the party are bad, but because the way of thinking leads to the same results again and again. Khalima Mutlante in 2005 says the central challenge is moral decay, having no morals, caused by the struggle for access to resources, caused by stealing tender money, a cancer in our midst. 2022, 20 years later, same problem had not improved. Corruption has not declined but worsened. Looting of public resources of industrial proportions is what Chief Justice Raymond Zondo found. Now, this is not the fault of one president, not the fault of one race. It's the formula doing what it always does. This pattern shows up wherever the same ideas are used, no matter the country or the people. There is only one way to break it. You don't build a home with a weapon, even if that weapon once saved your life. The problem with the revolutionaries, the Marxists in the country, is that they still live in 1984 or something. They still think the same words that ended apartheid are the same words that build the country. And when you do that, all you get is betrayal and corruption. That's why I keep saying no man can serve two masters, otherwise he'll love the one and hate the other, or he'll despise the one and honor the other. You can't serve God and Karl Marx. And I want to thank all our Prosperity Catalyst pledges. Our book is going out to print on Monday. The free copy, which is at the bottom, you can get it, you can read it, but we are sending it for print on Monday, and when it goes for print, we'll be printing the giveaway copies as well. So if you want to get involved with this and help us with the free copies that we'll be distributing, please go to the bottom and check there and get involved with us. If you run a business, I ask that you start sending 1% of all your income this way. We need 2 million plus for the first phase. We're going to be distributing this in the hotspots where people are most ready to hear such a message, because if our country doesn't get that you need a different mindset under oppression, and you need a different mindset on the 28th of April 1994 after the first vote, we'll just deal with betrayal and corruption. The people who claim to stand for people will be ripping them off, stealing them blind, talking about white supremacy. What difference does it make if he thinks he's supreme because he's white? You're a parliamentarian. You're in charge. Just subpoena the guy and let him come. We're not getting much out of Parliament, so it'll be interesting to see when he goes to adults at the Madlanga Commission. We'll get more information. So, if you want to be part of Prosperity Catalyst funders, like all these beautiful signatures, these beautiful souls represented by signatures behind me, then please go down to the bottom and let's make this happen. 1 million copies out. Some will be in townships, some will be just next to urban areas, some will be all kind of areas, so that we make sure that we at least do our part, because we do know that South Africa will prosper. So let's make history together. Cheers.